Are you about to sail on your first cruise? Then you've come to the right place. It's Tanner from Cruzely.com, and today we're going to be talking about 11 basic things that first-time cruise passengers should know before they get on the ship. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Getting right to it, the first basic thing that first-time cruisers should know about are the automatic gratuities. Automatic gratuities make it really simple to take care of those people on the ship that take care of you. So each cruise line now charges about 14 or 15 bucks a day per person per day to your account to take care of the gratuities automatically. Now you can even pay this when you buy the cruise fare, so by the time you get on the ship it may actually already be taken care of. Or if you decide not to do that, you'll see this amount reflected in your shipboard balance each day that you cruise. At the end of the cruise, you'll take care of this, you'll pay this automatic gratuity amount, and then that money is then transferred to people like your room steward or the wait staff in the dining room or the other restaurants. It makes it really simple to take care of the gratuities and make sure that this staff is compensated without having to do what they used to do in the old days, where you'd simply literally put cash in an envelope and hand it out to the people that gave you service over the trip. The second basic thing that you should know if it's your first time cruising is that there are a lot of hotels in port cities that will give you either free or discounted parking and or a shuttle to the cruise port. These can be a great deal and save you a lot of money. So how it works is you stay with these hotels the night before your cruise, and if they have a parking package, you can book that, or some will just let you simply keep your car at the hotel for free in exchange for a night stay. This can save you a ton of money off of parking at the port. As well, a lot of these hotels near ports also have cruise shuttles. So on the morning of your trip, you stay with them the night before and you simply say, hey, can I get a ride to the port? And they will give it to you for free, or sometimes it's just a few bucks, $5, $6, $10 to get to the port. This makes it really easy on your cruise day. You simply stay at the hotel, and the next morning you know exactly how you're going to get to the port. You can also save a bundle on parking. So take advantage of these deals. In fact, on Cruzely, we have a full list of hotels with both parking discounts and shuttles to the cruise port. We'll link it in the comments below. Moving on, you should know that if you're taking a cruise, while the cruise fare makes up the bulk of what you'll spend on your trip, don't think you're done spending simply because you're on the ship. Yes, you can be pretty frugal and not spend anything on the ship. In fact, we've done it personally. However, the average amount spent, according to financial reports from cruise lines, is typically around 25 to 35% of what they make in cruise fare, they make on onboard spending. So in other words, if you spend $1,000 per person on your cruise, expect to spend about $250 to $350 on board during that cruise. So be sure that you budget this extra amount when you're trying to figure out how much you'll spend on your vacation. And keeping in line with spending on your cruise, one thing that a lot of first-time cruisers don't know is how do you even spend money on board? Don't worry about bringing a ton of cash. These days, everything is taken care of through your room key card. So when you board the ship, you'll be given a key card, kind of like at a hotel. In fact, exactly like at a hotel, that will open your cabin door. This also is like a credit card. So when you want a drink, you head up to the bar, they scan your card, and it's charged to your account. That is how you spend money on the ship. This makes it really convenient. You don't have to carry a lot of cash around. There's no worrying about change, carrying coins, all this stuff. You simply swipe it on the card. One thing to keep in mind, the cruise lines do this. Yes, it's convenient, but it's also like a credit card, so it can be a little bit easier to spend money than it might otherwise be if you were paying cash. So anytime we ever talk to somebody who hasn't taken a cruise, one of the first questions they always ask is, what about getting seasick? Nobody wants to be seasick on a vacation. It is no fun to be uneasy in your stomach, feel queasy. The great news is the cruise ships are so big that they are so unbelievably stable. Yes, you can feel the ocean here and there. However, if you think that you're going to get on the ship and it's going to be rocking and rolling and it's going to be moving all the way, most of the time you can't even tell. I've seen people play pool on cruise ships And you would think that the balls would be floating all around, rolling all around the table. No, the balls are dead still. Most of the time, especially when you're inside and you can't see the ocean, you don't really feel the ship moving at all. Now, this isn't 100% of the time, but most of the time, if you're worried about the ship and it rocking around, it's nothing to worry about. The ships are extremely stable. Now, when you take a cruise, you probably looked at all the ports that you were going to visit. And if, say, you're taking a 7-day cruise and you have 3 ports of call, you might think, okay, 7 days, 3 ports of call, that means I'll be on the ship 4 days. In fact, you're going to be spending a lot more time on the ship. I think that first-time cruisers are usually surprised at how much time they actually spend on the ship. That's because ports of call are limited in only part of the day. So a ship might come into port at 8 o'clock and then leave at 4 or 5 o'clock. That's only 8 or 9 hours in port. So even on that day, you're still spending about 2/3 of the day on the ship. So whenever you are booking your cruise, that's why we think it's really important to look at the ship that you're sailing, because you're going to be spending a lot of time on the ship. It's not just a means to get from port to port to port. The ship in itself is really a destination. First-time cruisers always have questions about what sort of documents they need. Specifically, they want to know, do I have to have a passport or can I cruise with a birth certificate? Here's the answer. On most cruises, if it is a cruise that departs from a port and returns to the same port, so say you sail out of Miami for a week. You sail out of Miami, you go around the Caribbean, you come back into Miami. These are called closed loop cruises. And in this case, you can sail with a birth certificate and a photo ID. You don't have to have a passport. However, it's always a good idea to sail with a passport if you can. All the cruise lines recommend it. We recommend it as well. And that's because if something happens to you at sea and you need to be brought back via air, then if you need to take a flight back home, you need to have that passport to gain entry back into the US. The closed loop rule only deals with sea entry on cruises. So if you can swing the money and the time, you have the time to do it, go ahead, get that passport. However, if it's your first time cruising and maybe you're not going to be doing it again, or you want to see if you like it before you go get that passport, you can sail with a birth certificate and a photo ID. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some of the things on the ship. The first one is a tip for getting around. Our advice to you is that whenever you can, use the stairs. So let's lay this out. You have about 4,000 or 5,000 people on a big modern cruise ship, and you have about 20 decks. As you can imagine, no matter how many elevators you have, you're going to have thousands of people each day going up and down, up and down, up and down. So if you're only going 1, 2, maybe 3 decks, it is usually so much faster just to go ahead and take the stairs. As well, that frees up space on the elevators. Now, if you're going 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 decks, or if you have mobility issues, go ahead, yes, use the elevator. But keep in mind, during peak times especially, it can take a while. You're going to save a lot of time if you can just go ahead and use the stairs up or down. You'll see the stairs right next to the elevator. They're not hidden away. They're right in the middle of the ship. And they will save you a lot of time when you're on the cruise ship and you want to go from deck to deck. Now, another thing that we think surprises first-time cruisers, because frankly we know that it surprised us, is how small pools are on a cruise ship. Now, when you think about it, it makes sense. Water is pretty heavy, and all the pool decks on a cruise ship are obviously up high in the sun on top of the ship. So if you put something really, really heavy on the top of a big tower, it holds a lot of weight and a lot of leverage moving around. So if the ship rocks, then that weight is going to really swing around and cause havoc on the ship. As a result, the pools on cruise ships are fairly small. They're not tiny. There's plenty of room to swim and dozens of people can get in them. However, if you're thinking of some big resort style pool that sweeps around the entire pool deck, there's nothing like that. There's usually 1, maybe 2 rectangular pools. But as far as your main pools, these are going to be a little bit smaller maybe than you were thinking. Now we're getting close to wrapping up, but we've got 2 more things that we think first-time cruisers should know that are pretty basic. The first one involves drink packages, and it's the fact that they can be a great deal. So if you aren't familiar with drink packages, here's how they work. You pay one set daily fee. Usually it's between $60 to $80 per person per day. And then you can drink pretty much anything on the ship that you want. So if you want a margarita, you go up there, scan your card, it's included in the package. If you want a beer, it's included in the package. You don't have to worry about your budget. They can help you budget a lot. Now, drinking on a cruise ship is pretty expensive. Beers will run $6 to $8 each. Your cocktails will run $12 to $14 each. So you can imagine that the cost of this can add up pretty fast. So if you have a drink package, you don't have to worry about budgeting. And in fact, if you drink quite a bit, these drink packages can pay for themselves pretty quick. Now, they also include things like water, coffees, juices, a number of other things other than alcoholic drinks. However, where you'll get the most bang for your buck is with the alcoholic drinks. So keep this in mind that the drink packages can save a lot of money. And our final tip is that the drink packages, while they can be a great deal, drink packages can also be a bad deal. Now, this may not make sense. It sounds like we're talking to both sides of our mouth. But here's how it works. Drink packages, you have to book them for the entire cruise. So a 7-day cruise, you have to book it for all 7 days. So if you're in port one day, it doesn't matter, you're still paying for the package. If you had a big night out and hey man, I just want to take it easy, drink some water, I don't want anything alcoholic to drink, you're still paying for that package. As well, many cruise lines have rules that if one person in the cabin gets a drink package, all the other adults in that cabin also have to get it. So say you have a husband and wife, one drinks, one doesn't. They have to buy 2 packages. So it's really important that you do your math on how much are you going to drink, how much is the person you're traveling with going to drink, and you run through and you do the math to make sure, yes, I'm going to get the benefit of using the drink package, because there's a lot of times where you may not want it. There may be several days on your trip where you don't really get your money's worth, and that can add up, and you'll end up spending more if you buy the drink package than if you didn't buy it. So we hope that you've enjoyed these basic things. I hope that they have given you a better idea of what to expect when you're on the ship. If you like this video, go ahead, please like, comment with any questions you might have. As well, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. We have a lot of videos with a lot of tips and things to know before you cruise. Until then, enjoy your cruise. You're gonna have a great time. Happy cruising.